Grace. When I was a kid, we knew a lady named Grace. Never heard the word again for years until suddenly it became the most popular name to name your little girls was Grace. The problem is it's a lot easier to name your child or to spell or to write it on a beautiful plaque that you put above your wall in your house and everybody looks at it. That's relatively easy. The hard part is living it. So we had a Grace that lived with us for a while, loved her dearly. We've had friends that were named Grace that we didn't particularly care for. That doesn't really matter. The name does not define the person, or the person, we found out, doesn't necessarily define the word. But grace is taking something and changing what the end result could be. Think of it maybe as touching a hot fire and not getting burned. You deserve to get burned. Your fingers are close to the heat, but grace allowed you not to be burned. I think of grace as being what I offer to someone when everything within me wants to give something else. And it's the presence of Christ in my life that allows me to have a grace-filled action, grace-filled answer, grace-filled response, versus you've got it coming, you knew this, you shouldn't do this, or I told you the stove was hot. It's really interesting because we do want grace given to us. We just aren't sure we want to give grace. I know when the kids were little, a lot of times their consequences needed to present themselves. But there were times for consequences and there were times for grace. And I think probably the most impactful punishments that we had leaned more heavily on grace than they did what was deserved at the moment. And so when I think about that as I walk around in my culture, which grace is not a word that people actually practice, they just have it on their shirts, I want to be the one who steps back and looks at it and says, I want to give you what you don't deserve because I can. And I want to love you like you don't maybe deserve because I can. And I can not through who I am, but through who I am through Christ in me. That changes the way I deliver grace, the way I put it on a platter, and the way I present it to someone else. So think about that today as you encounter people and situations. Am I handing out grace?